welcome you to the Reed and Christine Halliday Executive Lecture Series. Both those of you who are physically here and those who are watching online via Teams or who will be watching after. So we're grateful you're here today. Today we have Britnee Bromley, I just asked you, Nuehring?
Yes.
Nuehring, Chief Communication Officer of Crumbl Cookies, and has been with the company for 2.5 years. Named one of Utah's counties 40 under 40 last year. And her dad was named one of the 70 over 70, weren't you, Reed? I think that's a different group. She has helped grow Crumbl from 20 stores to over 300 locations in 35 states. One, Orem, gratefully, is reopening today, because it was closed for a while, right?
A free cookie day tomorrow, for anyone interested. Orem store.
And perhaps free cookie, maybe free cookie today.
Maybe.
Right after class, but stay tuned, depends how you do. Britnee attended another university in Logan for the first 4 years of schooling before she and her husband moved to the Caribbean for some tourism internships. After arriving back in Utah, she finished a degree here at Utah Valley University. So she's one of our alumni and got her degree in 2017. She joined Crumbl as in a training capacity in 2019 and has watched that and helped that grow over the last few years. Since that time, she has been in many positions at the company. Her time with Crumbl has been filled with some of the sweetest highs, got that, and challenging lows, with many, many, many cookies in between. She enjoys family life with her military husband and 2 children. Please join me in welcoming Britnee to the stage.
Yay! Thank you, thank you. You guys, it's great to be here. It's great to be back. I'm seeing some familiar faces, which is awesome. Really, really happy to be here. I've got my family here with me as well. I kind of feel like that elementary kid whose mom comes to watch his presentation. And yes, I did bring treats, so like that's kind of part of the elementary school thing too. Like was mentioned, my name is Britnee Bromley Nuehring. Today, you guys, I want to do this a little bit unconventional, a little bit casual, maybe. I want to tell you guys some stories. I want to tell you a little bit about my story in hopes that that might help you on your journey as you graduate and go on in whatever profession you want. And then I also want to tell you one of my favorite stories ever, and that's the story of Crumbl. Who here has heard of Crumbl cookies? Raise it high. Okay, who here hasn't heard of Crumbl? Oh, no, he's getting cookies. He's getting extra cookies at the end. But that's great. That means that I'm doing my job. So like was mentioned, I am the Chief Communications Officer at Crumbl. I've had a myriad of jobs at Crumbl. I'm just gonna kind of talk through a little bit about me so you guys get some context on who you're dealing with and kind of my journey, and then we'll talk about Crumbl a little bit as well. I am a hilarious wife and a cool boy mom. My husband's in the back, so he can tell you if I'm actually hilarious, but I think that I am. Been married for about 9 years. It's been wonderful. My husband's also in the communications marketing space, and so that's nice that our pillow talk is a little bit work talk too. It's kind of fun. And yes, he enlisted in the military last year, so that's been an interesting part of our journey as well, and he's wonderful. I have 2 boys. I have 2 kids. I actually unexpectedly got pregnant when I was a senior here at UVU. So any of you who may be dealing with that or deal with that in the future, it was crazy, but we can do it. And I really, really appreciated what UVU had to offer in terms of non-traditional student support. I gave birth and I graduated like a week later. So it was pretty crazy. So I have my son here, Oliver. It's the one that often models Crumbl Cookies stuff. He's 5 years old. His most recent interests are he's been getting married at school. But don't worry, Mom, like just pretend married. So we're dealing with that. That's been fun. Then I have my little Finn in the corner. So I have Oliver and Finn. And so Finn is about a year old. My husband left to the military when he was 5 weeks old. So that was a crazy time. But Finn, his current interests as a 1-year-old are pulling things out of this drawer, taking them over there, pulling things off the counter, moving them over there. It's very helpful. But yeah, that's what he's into, just kind of making messes. It's awesome. But yeah, Crumbl. It's been an exciting journey. I went to Utah State University for 4 years. And this is one of those moments that I want to call out to you guys as I go through these stories that was really, really powerful for me. So attended Utah State University. I was in elementary education, decided that that wasn't the fit for me. I was really, really not great academically. My mom can attest to that. Not great academically, but I was very, very involved in leadership. I took my extracurriculars, my internships, all of that really seriously. And it has been the thing that led me to Crumbl. When I first got kind of introduced to working at Crumbl, our COO slid into my DMs, someone whom I met at Utah State and said, hey, what's your interest in coming over to Crumbl? So I would just highly recommend to you guys, don't just network with alums or professors, because the people that you guys are sitting with are the future CEOs, COOs, maybe you yourself. It's definitely worth getting to know your classmates. But spent time up at Utah State, loved it, go Aggies, moved, like was mentioned, and then came back here to UVU. I worked on the Roots of Knowledge project. I was the PR intern on Roots of Knowledge, which was awesome. I was pregnant, like was mentioned. I just can't get that out of my head. Yes, it was wild. I was the PR SSA president while I was here and as well. I graduated as PR Student of the Year here at UVU. So it was awesome. I loved UVU. After I graduated, I went on to Avalanche Media. So I got a job right out of school working at a digital marketing agency. So I think a lot of you guys are either minoring, majoring, marketing and business. It was awesome. Agency life is no joke. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of late nights. It was a lot of early mornings. I learned a lot, and I loved my time there. I was there for 2.5 years, and then like I mentioned, I got that DM and ended up going over to Crumbl. So when he first reached out and asked if I was interested in coming over, I said, okay, well, maybe I'm interested. Well, what do you envision me doing? And he said, I don't quite know yet. We just, want you to be a part of what we're building over here. And it's been the greatest opportunity of my whole life. And really, it's been an incredible, incredible blessing in my family's life as well. I put a lot of pictures of family up here because it really is a family ordeal. My parents and husband and I are in the process of opening some Crumbl stores. My sister, I hired her on, and she's been promoted to the VP level. We've got other siblings that are involved, and my husband eats the cookies. And so it's like a whole thing. It's like a whole family thing. Came on in a training capacity. So that's kind of another just call out for you guys. I graduated in communications and in PR, but I knew that I wanted to be a part of what was going on at Crumbl. And so it was worth it to me to kind of maybe move over here and see how I could help in a training capacity. So at the time, that was the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges that Crumbl was facing. We'll talk about a little bit more in a minute about some of the key differentiators of Crumbl, but training in this company is no joke. Our weekly rotating menu. You are literally having your thousands and thousands of bakers change what they do from scratch every single week. And so when I came on, we had about 15 to 20 stores. The stats that he gave, those are actually outdated. As of this moment, we have 411 stores in operation. We've been a company for, I'll talk about this in a minute too, but we've been a company for under 5 years. So immense growth. He mentioned 35 states. We are now in 43 states across the nation. Yes, it's awesome. It's so exciting. It's so great. But came on in training and tried to help build and figure out how we could train not only our franchise partners that we were onboarding, but also bakers every single week. So that was a journey. I was hired as the director of training. A few months later, I got promoted to the director of training and marketing. From there, I got promoted to the VP of training and marketing, and then just the VP of marketing, and now I am where I am as the chief communications officer. My main focus right now is on communications for the company, okay? I've done a lot of different things, but right now it's all about customer perception. It's about message penetration, it's reputation management, it's customer experience, it's PR, crisis comms, which has been awesome. So that's mainly what my teams and I are building out right now. And yes, I am a cookie consumer still. Oftentimes when I talk in situations like this and talking with students, they're like, Do you get to eat all the cookies? Yes. Yes, there's literally cookies every day in our office right across the street. You are welcome to visit anytime. But yeah, I still love the cookies, and that's kind of fun and great. And our best cookie of all time, I also get asked this too, our pineapple whip. Did anyone try that one, pineapple whip? It was like a Dole Whip. We used the same mixings and fresh pineapple, so same type of experience that you'd get at Disneyland or Hawaii. Chef's kiss, it's really, really good. Okay. So, sweet learnings from America's fastest growing restaurant chain. Let's get ready to crumble. I'm gonna tell the Crumbl story, and just like I did with my story, I'm just gonna make some call outs, some things that if I could go back and be in your guys' shoes again, that I would want pointed out to me, okay? So, let's talk about the Crumbl story, but first, I wanna share some crumbs of knowledge. We're really into puns at Crumbl, okay? I wanna share some crumbs of knowledge with you guys. So, like was mentioned, we are the largest cookie company in the nation, in the whole United States, by way of storefronts right now. Insomnia Cookies, Mrs. Fields, Tiff's Treats, you may have heard of some of these. We have surpassed them by dozens and dozens of stores in a fraction of the time. Additionally, we are the fastest growing restaurant chain in the United States per Restaurant News magazine, which is exciting. And it was especially rewarding and exciting throughout COVID. As other restaurants were closing down, we were incredibly, incredibly blessed to have a concept that was already a takeout model business. So we were able to grow, we were able to scale. Like I mentioned, 411 stores in 43 states in under 5 years. Now the growth is awesome. It's great, don't get me wrong. But our CEO just bawls his little eyes out, and just like his whole purpose for doing this whole thing is in relation to bullet point number 4. And that is the lives of the people that are involved in Crumbl now. So we've got about 250 people squeezed over into that single building across the street. So that's been such a blessing to be able to grow our little Crumbl family at HQ. We have about 1,000 franchise partners, many of which are either from Utah or have ties to Utah, which has been wonderful. Lastly, we have about 18,000 bakers across the nation. Wild. We're a franchise model business, so right now our Orem store is the only store that our headquarters owns. The rest are independently owned and operated, oftentimes by families, which we'll talk about that too. Right now, if you go on, at least this morning, this was our rank, if you go onto your app store, go in the food and beverage category, we are ranked number 12 in all of food and beverage. There are some days where we're ranked even higher. There was one day, I screenshotted it and I'll frame it one day, that we were number 3 in food and beverage. So we were literally surpassed Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, all of them. The only 2 food and beverage brands ahead of us were Uber Eats and DoorDash. That was it. Wild. That was a thrilling, thrilling day. So we're proud of that. We have a very active social following. Some of you guys may have engaged with us. Thank you for doing that. If you don't, you really should. We have 5 million followers on TikTok. We were very, very early adopters as far as brands go for leaning into TikTok. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. And 2 million followers on Instagram. Now, the followership is impressive and we're proud of that. But the engagement, you guys, is beyond. Like I mentioned, I worked at a digital marketing agency. I had dozens and dozens of clients, and I tell you what, we'd post something, and I'm like, oh, please get one comment. Please have people like this, right? Let's put spend behind it, like get people to engage. Whereas at Crumbl, at 6 p.m. on Sunday nights, we announce our weekly flavor lineup. And I'm not kidding you guys, in 2 minutes, we have 1,000 comments. You can watch this Sunday. Watch when we announce, oh gosh, I'm throwing stuff. Watch when we announce, and people are tagging their friends. The business model of having your flavors and your offering change every week, it's a marketer's dream. Very, very compelling for you to consider as you guys go on and develop your own businesses. So that's something we're proud of. Then we've gotten some fun PR opportunities as well over the years, featured on CNBC, Good Morning America, ABC, QSR, Forbes, People.com, and more. You may have seen us in a recent DJ Khaled, Justin Bieber music video, which was an exciting win as well. We were there right alongside Raising Cane's, which was awesome. I want to play, can I play this link or no? How would I do it? Do I just click over here? And guaranteed there's going to be an ad. Guaranteed. We're going to YouTube, so there's just going to be an ad. But that was really, really exciting as well. Oh, if it won't take us, that's all right. So I just want to play the first minute or so of this CNBC coverage because it was awesome. Oh, delicious. We're getting an ad for a Wendy's chicken sandwich. There it is. Delicious.
A cookie company is taking TikTok by storm and business is booming. While other companies struggled during the height of COVID, they expanded. Crumbl Cookies opened 149 new locations.
Say that again.
During the pandemic. Here's CNBC's Andrea Day.
Yes, sir. So we're gonna eat these cookies.
Okay.
Look at this train.
We'll just play it for a second. That's all right.
It has the blueberries.
Are exploding on social media.
This is 10 out of 10. One of the best cookies I've tried.
They're basically saying we're awesome for anyone who can't hear.
It's actually really good.
And dedicated TikTok fans.
My God, I'm obsessed.
All right, besties, let's
Well,
try
thank
it.
you. We
The
appreciate
guys behind the
it.
cookies,
Yay! Good.
Jason
We love it.
McGowan and Sawyer Hemsley.
I have to pinch myself every day because we talk about sprinkles over the conference table and pink frosting.
They started Crumbl 3.5 years ago when Sawyer was in college.
We didn't know how to bake anything when we got started, right?
We learned, we watched YouTube, we
start
read
it. Let's
books,
stop it,
and we
yeah.
networked.
Okay.
It was more of
Okay.
a side hustle.
So for those of you guys who couldn't hear, I mean, that was so beyond exciting. That coverage went live and we were all around the conference table that Sawyer was mentioning and watching this go live. It was awesome. That was a huge, huge win for the company. Thank you. Okay, more stories. Crumbl beginnings. Ha, humble beginnings, ha. We love puns, we love it, we love it. Really, Crumbl all started, this is our favorite tagline, started with one big dream, two crazy cousins, and the perfect combination of flour, sugar, and chocolate chips. First, I want to talk about our CEO. Our CEO's name is Jason McGowan. Crumbl as a whole, including these individuals, is a story of perseverance. Truly, truly, truly. Jason graduated high school. Jason did not graduate college. Moved to the United States. He's Canadian. And he just couch surfed for a few years, just living on friends' couches. But in the interim, he was teaching himself technology, IT, development. He ended up going on creating his own successful career within the tech space. Now, I brought here, their two stories together make Crumbl what it is. Now what I have here, this is our first ever recipe book, Crumbl's. It's so fun. You can there's flour all over in it. It's kind of disgusting. But when we first got started, this was the model. Let's say that you're a franchise partner and we're like, hey, welcome to the Crumbl family. Here's all of our recipes. Well, because of our model, in 2 seconds, that's going to be outdated, whether we're updating a cookie recipe, whether we're rolling out new flavors. So this is a perfect example of technology being at the core of Crumbl's concept. It had to be. With our menu changing so often and having as many stores across the nation as we do, technology has to be a core part of it. So over at our office over here, our development team is one of our biggest teams at the company. And they are developing all of our own proprietary tools, resources, both internally as well as externally. So anytime, because of Jason's vision, that we want to go in and update a recipe, let's say that this week you guys are not loving how many toppings we're putting on a cookie, why do you feel that way? We want more toppings always. But let's say that you do that, we can go back and in real time, we can update the recipe on our side, and then in all 411 of our stores, it's updated. The website updates, the app, it's incredible. So that's Jason, a core part of our story. Now, Sawyer, also an incredible story of perseverance. I knew Sawyer when we were both up at Utah State University. Sawyer had just run for student body president of the university, and he lost. And so he's kind of thinking about, what does he want to do next? And he got thinking about a cookie company. Up in Logan, there wasn't the concepts like you see all over the nation down here in Utah County, right? Logan didn't have that. And so they got together and they're like, okay, well, let's make this single cookie shop. The intention from the beginning was never to franchise and grow like we had. They just wanted to open up a Crumbl. Sawyer's background and his passion is in visual, in branding, in social media, creative. He has an incredible eye for design, which has been, again, with technology, some of the core elements of what make Crumbl. I brought this to signify kind of Sawyer's contribution to the company. I also think it's worth calling out as well that this was mentioned, but Crumbl was started when Sawyer was literally in your guys' situation. He was a senior in college and started it. He was doing his internship still, he was doing all his classwork, and he started Crumbl, and it's now literally the world's largest cookie company. So you can do it, okay? Whatever it is that you want to do. I think it's a great story as well. But the pink box has been incredibly powerful for Crumbl. If you're walking down the street and you see someone a mile away and they've just got a rectangular shaped box, you know what it is. Even if you don't like Crumbl, for the most part, you know what it is if Crumbl has strong brand awareness in the area. And that has been powerful for us. The color pink, the unique shaped box. So the box shape is an interesting story as well. I was going to talk about it in a minute, but I'll talk about it now. The idea was actually, again, from college students. So back when Sawyer was up at Utah State, the business school up there asked if Crumbl could be kind of their yearly case study. Students got together in groups and made recommendations for the brand and how could it be better operationally and from a branding perspective. And one of the groups recommended, based on their research, that food served in a line is more appetizing than food served in a square. So from there, the pink box was born. Yeah, and it's been great for us. And we've seen and will continue to see more and more competitors, desserts. I mean, we're going to see more and more of these rectangular boxes used as well. So they came together, technology and branding and creative. And I tell you what, guys, they didn't know about baking. They didn't know. They actually tested their way to what we believe is the perfect chocolate chip cookie. Because Jason's in technology, any of you who know anything about technology, I mean, A/B testing and in marketing is a really compelling way to find the right answer to a solution. And that's how our milk chocolate chip cookie was born. Is up in Logan and throughout the Salt Lake area, they developed two different types of recipes. They'd go around and ask people, which one do you like better? What's your feedback? And then they'd go back and they'd tweak it and they'd serve it again and again. And that's how we landed on our milk chocolate chip cookie. So they didn't know anything about baking, but I promise you guys, I'd put them up against any chef out there now. Sawyer, he can go downstairs into our kitchen. We've got our R&D kitchen just right across the street, and he can like crumple up, he can mess with, he can lick the bottom of a cookie, and he can know what ingredients are missing. So another little tidbit, if you have a vision for a company and you don't know anything about it, well, you can get there. You can absolutely get there. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk about key differentiators because Crumbl, especially here in Utah, is in an extremely saturated space, right? Between all the soda shops and all the cookies, I mean, there's a million options. And so constantly something that Sawyer says to us is, what do we offer that's different, better, and special, okay? I want to hear from people, regardless of whether or not you like Crumbl, I hope you all do, like what are some differences that Crumbl brings to the market? Yell them out. Big cookie, okay. What else? Warm, okay. Soft. Variety. Anything else? It looks special. Love it. Anything else? Customizable. Cool. I like that one. Cool. Okay. Well, I'm going to go through the top 4 key differentiators. I've mentioned a few of them, but that we feel make Crumbl and differentiate ourselves from everybody else, right? Now, first things first, one of the things that we've been talking about heavily over at HQ is our mission statement. Bringing friends and family together over the best box of cookies in the world. We're a family-owned business. You can see here, I mean, Sawyer and Jason are cousins, and a lot of people over at HQ are related, and it's great. It's super great. Now, what we've really decided that we need to hone in on more is we're realizing more and more through user-generated content, surveys we put out to our customers, that a vast majority of the time, we don't have the data on it yet, but I'm gonna get the data and I'm gonna prove it, that like 90% of the boxes and cookies that are purchased involve 2 people. Whether I'm giving Crumbl as a gift, whether I'm getting together with my girlfriends for a GNO, whatever, like it is kind of a moment or an additional piece that can make those gatherings a little bit sweeter, right? Yeah, so that's something that we're gonna be building out more and more, and for any of you guys who follow us along, that's gonna become a more prevalent part of our story, because right now, we're not talking about that. We're not leaning into the emotional use case of the product, and that's a missed opportunity. So we're gonna be leaning into that more. Now, key differentiators. Number 1, our weekly rotating menu. Okay, I want you guys to think for a second about what a nightmare that is for a business. It is a freaking nightmare. It is. From a sourcing perspective, from a training perspective, from like an inventory management, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Especially when you think about that even all the estimation tools and everything that we build to try and help our franchise partners, manage inventory and make sure they have enough, but not too much, is that even though we've served the snickerdoodle cupcake in the past, we've never served it with the brownie sundae, with the lemon, right? So there's all these confounding factors about it. Now, that said, the weekly rotating menu has been hands down the most impactful, powerful part of our concept. So it's the biggest pain in our butt, but it will never go away ever in a million years because it's been that powerful. Who has seen Crumbl on TikTok before? Few people, good. Last year, when I mentioned that our CEO really wanted us to lean into TikTok as a platform, it was terrifying. He's like, hey, we really need to be on here. And I'm like, well, but all the Gen Z are there and they're terrifying and they're like, what are they gonna say? And things can go viral, right? It was a really scary time. But Jason was seriously a visionary in that moment because TikTok is the optimal place for a company like Crumbl to exist. Last year, on TikTok, when we were leaning into that platform, we started trending on TikTok in a big way. I'm talking like we went from 10,000 followers to 2 million followers in 6 weeks. Our franchise partners were calling us saying, turn it off, like whatever is happening, turn it off, because they had lines out the door. We were also dealing with hiring pains at the time and sourcing. So it was massive. And it was because we really leaned into the fact that we have a weekly rotating menu. So really our approach was, hey, we want you to try these cookies and we want you to rate them. So any of you guys who have seen Crumbl on TikTok, the content that you're probably seeing is user-generated content from other people sitting in their cars, trying a bite of this flavor, then that one, and rating it out of 10. We got millions and millions and millions over those few months. We got millions of people using Crumbl-related hashtags to do just that. And that was also a scary thing because we knew that there was gonna be people that didn't like every flavor. But we decided that we didn't care because guess what? You don't like lemon? Well, no problem. We'll see you next week, right? We're always offering something new, okay? So, weekly rotating menu, another call out just like with the box. We're seeing this with some of our competitors, and I anticipate that we're gonna see it more and more. You guys are seeing, shops pop up everywhere for any type of dessert or food, and because this weekly rotating menu is working, and the timing we found works. A day is probably a little too short for people to know and understand. A month might be a little too long where I'm not coming back week after week to check, right? We found our sweet spot with the weekly rotating menu. Okay, number 2, as far as key differentiators, a high quality cookie experience. Okay, I liked what some of you guys threw out. The way that the cookies look, they're unique, they're fun. Back 4 years ago, there wasn't, we weren't seeing the type of topped cookies that we're seeing now. We were one of the first to do that. We wanted that delicious cream cheese and some drizzles and all of that on top for a heightened experience. High quality ingredients. We were using Ghirardelli and all the really great, delicious chocolate chips, right? We want that to be a high quality experience. It's also very important to us that you as consumers have a high quality experience in seeing the product actually be made. That's really powerful, right? That's really, really powerful. And it's something that is very, very new, especially on the East Coast. We've seen a lot of really positive feedback over on that side of the country with people coming in, oh my gosh, it is fresh. Like you're literally cracking the eggs and you're balling the dough and you're topping things right in front of my eyes. Like a very, very powerful experience. Freshness, a variety of flavors. We have over 200 flavors right now with more to come, many more. Sneak peek, we do have one coming that is celebrating my favorite candy in the whole world. Maybe I'll tell you at the end, but I can't wait. I'm so excited. And so we lean into flavors and nostalgic flavors, cornbread and cosmic brownie cookies from when you were brownies from when you were young, and we turn those into cookies. And it creates this heightened experience that's not just the chocolate chip cookie that you can get at home, right? Because that's feedback that we get too. Why would I pay $3 for a single cookie when I can make 15 for $3? You have to provide a higher quality experience if you're gonna be charging something that people can do themselves, right? Okay, next up. I already talked about the iconic pink box, but I can't stress it enough that, man, we've got people that every year for Halloween, they're dressing their kid up like a pink box. We see hundreds of those. Like the pink box has been really, really powerful for us. Okay, I've talked about tech a little bit, but I want to call out a few other pieces. Our app is fabulous. Our website is fabulous. Customer customization. So back in 2020, you guys remember, everyone was, it was just such a painful time for businesses. It was painful for us too. It was incredibly painful, and we're still dealing with a lot of those effects. We're gonna be dealing with them for years and years and years to come. But one of the things that kept us relevant and accessible was the fact that we were already tech-driven, right? People who had our app, well, we just rolled out a curbside feature to the app. So rather than pulling up to say, Cafe Rio, you guys remember, all the businesses were trying to figure it out. Like, call this number and we'll bring your food out to you. Well, that's a logistical nightmare, right? And costs are going up for that store. And it just was a very painful time. But our technology helped immensely, Internally, we have so many tools internally that help our franchise partners run their stores better. Estimation tools, accounting tools. We have an internal cookie calendar. Okay, let me tell you, this is one of the most challenging jobs in the whole company. Our COO still does it himself, is deciding which of the 4 cookies we're gonna serve together in any given week. There are so many things that go into that. And our tech team has been able to build tools to where he can get a comprehensive view of, okay, what is the difficulty level of this week? Right? Because that's something that we need to think about. It could be easy for you guys to say, well, just do all Oreo ones. Well, no, because those are some of our most complicated cookies. And if we serve all complex cookies in one week, well, then you're gonna come back and be mad because it took too long, right? So we need to have speed, we need to have affordability, we need to have accessibility to ingredients. This is really fascinating, we need to think about how the box looks as a 4-pack, okay? For Crumbl, as we are developing our product, it is equally as important to us because of our model and the high social impact that exists around our business. It is equally as important to us how the product tastes, equally is how it looks and how the 4-pack looks together in a box, okay? We are a brand ambassador for Oreo, for Mondelez. They own Oreo, they own Nutter Butter, they own Sour Patch, a lot of the brands that we all know and love. And they talk about how this is something very unique to Crumbl that they don't see with any of their other partners, McDonald's, Sonic, whatever, is that we take food development from a social first perspective, which has been very powerful. If we have a lineup that looks boring, I've seen the data, we don't see as much user-generated content that week. So that's also something that we're thinking about when Sawyer's developing that lineup for the week. So we've got internal tools to help with that. We have developed our own ticketing system, POS, and that way we're able to control all of that information and organize it. Everything's able to talk to each other. The recipe iPad together with the POS, and that way we can measure ticket times of our stores. That way we can measure delivery times and quality, and that's been very, 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 very powerful. So, yep, owning our own technology and our own data makes it easier to pivot and optimize. Okay, now I felt like it wouldn't be great for me to leave out some things that have been hard. Things have been going really great, and we've been talking about that, but also there have been, for sure, some challenges as well. And I want to go through some of those right now. Supply chain, cookie quality and consistency, and communication. So just kind of pulling back the layers here, being transparent. Communication with our customers, with our franchise partners. Things are changing every single week. That's a challenge. That's a challenge for our company. Right now, I'm sure that we have conversations going that I'm not a part of and I need to be very soon about next week's flavors. What stores don't have their ingredients yet? How are we positioning this to our customers, right? It's something that we're always, always, always thinking about. Now, additionally with communication, I mentioned crisis comms. Whatever you guys decide to do in your lives, whether it's marketing, whether you're owning your own businesses, whatever, the landscape of communication is the wild, wild west right now. Wild, wild west. Between Reddit and other forums, regular Instagram and Facebook and fan pages, all the things, there is just communication happening all day, all night, all the time. And for us, that's a challenge right now, especially for me and for my team, is to make sure that we're aware of all of the conversations that are happening, whether they're good or bad, and then figuring out, okay, how can we capitalize on that positive opportunity, or how can we mitigate the drama going on, right? We had an instance a couple of weeks ago, maybe you guys saw it on TikTok because it had 3 million views. We had a cookie quality instance in one of our stores where a screw was found in one of the cookies, okay? It had come loose in one of our mixers and had fallen in the dough, and it just got mixed right in, and it was served to a customer, okay? We serve 1 million cookies a day, 1 million. And so if you have one problem, the statistical significance is minor. Even 100 problems is minor given the volume that we're doing. However, because of the ongoing constant communication, things can get out of hand really fast, right? Okay, we got 10 minutes. That's perfect, actually. 10 minutes till questions or 10 minutes till done?
10 minutes till done.
Okay, awesome. We'll wrap this up. But before we even saw the content and were able to rectify with the customer and understand what happened, we already had 1 million views on the content. That's hard. So that's something that you guys need to think about, is just the virality of life right now. And how can you kind of maintain and control communication? Cookie quality. We're making our cookies from scratch, literally from scratch. That's a beautiful part of the experience, but that can also make it painful. And so how can we make sure that customers see the beauty in the fact that you're getting a few extra muddy buddies on your cookie rather than that guy? Because, we want our cookies to be perfectly imperfect. We don't want them to look like Oreo. We don't want them to be cardboard cutouts of each other. We want them to be the same, but we also want them to feel warm and homemade. Lastly, supply chain. Everyone everywhere is dealing with supply chain, and that is incredibly, incredibly painful. Crumbl, I will just applaud and this wasn't me who did this was other teams, but we are taking the supply chain pains and shortages by the horns. We are acquiring product on behalf of our stores right now. We're going to be doing more and more and more of that. But this is painful. This is painful for everybody, and it's been great to see the team just like lean in and take control of it. It's not working, but I think I'm just about to the end here. So really, like I mentioned, so many learning opportunities with Crumbl. It's a cool brand. You can do really incredible things right now, truly. So I would encourage you guys. To do it. Your ideas, the things that are calling you right now, that's what Crumbl was for our founders. And it has positively impacted truly so many people around the world. As far as what's coming next for Crumbl, we want to serve the best cookies in the world around the world. And we are absolutely in motion to do that here very, very soon. So thank you guys so much for having me. I want to answer some questions. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did too. Thank you. Yeah.
How much does it cost to franchise one of your Crumbls, and what's the potential for the person that franchised?
And repeat that question, please.
Yeah, totally. So he's asking about franchising. That's something that people ask a lot about. That is, I won't share too much because we do keep a lot of our information proprietary, right? Right now, I will say there is so much interest in franchising with Crumbl, which is we're so grateful. Right now, we've got celebrities that are trying to open stores. We've got some athletes that have stores open. It's been really fun. I'll just say that Crumbl's model, our franchising fees and costs and everything are the concept's very profitable. And the startup costs are very minimal, especially as you compare to other franchise models. So that's how I'll answer that. Yeah.
What sort of vision do you have for the international scene of?
Great question. So she asked, what's our vision for international? We are still working that out. Right now, a lot of the things that are on our minds are, we need to do a lot of testing to start. Our plan right now is that we're going to go into these markets with HQ-owned stores and figure out what people are liking. It could very well be that we get into Japan and people like the fact that it's an American business, right? We don't necessarily need to change our menu potentially that much because people know that it's an American company and therefore they're going there to get an American product, right? However, we don't know that for sure. And so those are some of the things we're going to be thinking about is, do we move into Asian flavors when we're in an Asian country or not? So it's going to be some exciting times. Customer service, how do we manage that? Yeah, watch us because we're gonna kill it, and we're also going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. So, yeah.
How far out do you have to plan for your weekly flavor?
Ooh.
Do you plan months, weeks in advance?
Great question. We hit a huge milestone last week because our COO sent out a message to everybody and said, I finally have the calendar done for the whole year, which is just so awesome. We try to be 6 months out just because that's how specialty ingredients work. I will say, the fact that we have a weekly rotating menu has actually been very beautiful for the supply chain shortages out there. Because let's say we have a whole lineup ready to go and we've got these few specialty cookies, we've never done them before, but then we get to Sunday afternoon and realize that a third of our stores don't have the product for that specialty cookie. Well, the customers don't know yet. And so we can hurry and pivot back and say, okay, everybody's doing a snickerdoodle or an M&M. And granted, the customers won't be as thrilled, but at least we have something to offer, right? So like with Chick-fil-A, if you guys go on to Chick-fil-A's website right now, you'll see that they have a big banner at the top of their website that says, due to COVID-related supply chain shortages, we are low on Chick-fil-A sauce. Did you guys know, code red, there is a global shortage of Chick-fil-A sauce. That is like code red stuff. So for us, it's like painful, but it's kind of nice. So we try to be ahead so we can be creative and think outside the box, but that doesn't always happen. Yeah.
Okay, for you personally.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a ton going on with, kid, hilarious mom.
Hilarious mom.
Right.
Hilarious. Yeah.
But when do you know when to say no to stuff?
That's a good question. My husband's like probably laughing back there. Ha ha, balance, ha ha. It's, how do you balance it all? Being a hilarious mom, being a beautiful, sexy wife, being a, like all of these things. How do you balance all these things? I'm still figuring that out, to be honest with you. And I think maybe all of us are maybe striving for something that doesn't exist, maybe. I think we all should be patient with ourselves and know that there's going to be times where there's never going to be a perfect balance that we exist in forever. Sometimes work takes more. During 2020, work was hard. I was putting in a lot of hours because there were a lot of franchise partners and their livelihoods that relied on sales. And at that time, that was my sole focus, was sales. That was a very anxiety-filled time. But right now, I'm trying to put more into my family and into into my home. So I think we all should give ourselves more grace and try not to seek for something that's never going to be this long-standing, beautiful utopia. It's just kind of what's the most important today, what's going to fill my cup, and I'm going to put my energy and effort there today. Yeah.
What are you learning from Mrs. Fields and how to be different?
Learning from Mrs. Fields. Mrs. Fields, great competitor, but they never changed. So, I mean, they came out as a shopping mall concept. For those of you guys who don't know, I mean, it was standard cookies. They really leaned into like the, I don't want to say this and sound mean, but like what's considered now maybe like kind of tacky, like the chocolate chip cookie with, the red frosting on top, written "Happy Birthday." And now that's not the common thing that people want at like a party, right? And so they've done well in terms of shipping. Their nationwide shipping offering is unique and fun and good. But that's what I would say that we've learned from Mrs. Fields is that the competitors are going to come, especially in this massive dessert wave that we're seeing across the nation, whether it's cookies, whether it's dessert bars, whatever. People are loving their sweets right now, post-COVID. And you have to innovate.
So the question is bigger than cookies for the class, I think. And
Yeah.
that is, you should learn from your competitors, but you should also kind of pave your own way.
100%.
So you should learn what others have done well and bad, but you need to be distinct in what you're doing.
Yes.
Would you concur with that, Britnee?
100%. It's very easy right now, you guys, it's very easy for us to get caught up in our competitors, especially because we have a lot of competitors, we love them, who are actually leveraging Crumbl and hating on Crumbl or whatever else as a part of their marketing tactic. So it can be very easy for me to be like, what is happening over there? What is going on? We need to do that, or we need to respond to that, or whatever. But our founders have always been really wonderful at like, we have too much to do. We have too much to do in our vein of thinking. We need to observe and we need to learn, but it's not worth anything to go off and like get wrapped up in other people's thing, because you want to be different, better, and special. And if you're constantly doing what the other guy's doing, you're not different, better, and special.
One last question? Nope.
Okay. So I ran a business for a little while, and it was a small business, 40 people. Our offering was always the exact same, and all the employees were our employees, so we could control a little bit better how they interacted. And I lost a lot of sleep over inconsistency in the guest experience. Here, this is a big company. It's very spread out. You have a ton of variety thrown in, and you have franchisees, which means you don't 100% control the experience. So how do you, it hurts my brain.
Well, I'll say it hurts our brain too, and we lose a lot of sleep over it too. No, it's we have a very, very integrated, first off, we don't hit the nail on the head every time, I'll say that. But we do have a very integrated experience with our franchise partners. So the tools that I was mentioning, our internal app, we communicate with our franchise partners at least 3 times a day. Whether it's like, hey, everybody needs to get on and order their M&Ms, their pastel M&Ms for Easter, or hey, everyone remember we're seeing a lot of this, like we're communicating with them constantly. So we select franchise partners, back to your question. It's very important to us that we select franchise partners who are going to engage with us, because it has to be a partnership because of how frequently things change. But yeah, we can't control everything, and that's hard.
Let's thank her for coming.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.